Hey Team MG, it's your boy Michael Gascon, the Horse Guru, and I'm here with you today coming out of Franklin, New Jersey, and I'm here with a standardbred, Mick. He's an 8-year-old standardbred, and what we are looking to teach you today is how to get your horse to drop his head by using your legs. So I learned this from a Western pleasure mentor of mine, old Jimmy White, and what this really helps with is that self-carriage. So for him, he is in the second or third career of his life, and what we want him to be able to do is to be able to canter off quietly. So he is a pacer. So whenever he goes to canter off, it is a disaster. He gets his back all hollowed out, his feet get all behind him, causes injuries, gets him stretched out. So what we would like him to do is to teach him how to drop his head. If we can bury his head, whatever you have at home, whether it's a pacing horse, a gaited horse, a horse that's just stiff and tense and has their head high, this is gonna ruin your canter. It's gonna hollow out their back, shorten up their stride, and it's gonna make it real rough on you. So step one to get any of these horses to canter off, before we even attempt to canter him, we wanna make sure that we can drop his head. So he's been through all the fundamentals, he's been through all of grade school, and he already starts to give his head left and right. But now what we wanna do is get him being able to move his feet and drop his head at the same time. I have to give a big kudos to his owner. I first met him 3 years ago at a clinic up here, and he was a basket case, to say the least. Now 3 years later, he is a puppy dog. He does everything, he's nice and sweet. The last thing that we have to pick on is the canter, and the route to getting the canter down is dropping that head. So first things first, this horse already knows how to flex and how to give his head. So what we're gonna change now is now we're gonna start adding leg every time that we flex. So we'll start by flexing left and right. So whenever I'm gonna flex to the left, I'm gonna use my left heel, touch him here, flex. Touch him to the right, flex to the right. Touch him to the left, flex to the left. Touch him to the right, flex to the right. And we're just gonna go back and forth. And what we're trying to show him is just because we're putting our legs on you, if you would have done this 3 years ago, he would have just blasted off. Because so many horses that haven't been taught collection and how to get under themselves, they think that every time that you put a leg on them, they only want to go faster forward. So we're trying to show him that whenever I put the leg on you, I'm looking to get some collection. I'm looking for you to give. All right. So he's figured that out right quick. Watch, I'll touch with that foot first, and you see his head turn that way before I could even pull him around. So that's how you know he's picked it up. The other thing is that just because I put a leg on him, he just doesn't try to go faster in a straight line. The next thing, we're trying to get that vertical flexion. We want him to give that face, to drop that head. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab with both legs first and then release. So he did go forward, but the reason I released is the second I grabbed him, he put his nose in. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to pick his ribs up. I want you to think, I don't want you to squeeze with your knees in a downward manner. What I'm looking for you to do is, and I got in big trouble with this with my mentor, is I would squeeze a horse and it would flatten out their back because I would squeeze from the thighs down. And this is what you do on a lot of horses, is you start by putting pressure on your thighs, then roll it to your calves, then down to your heels. And they know, uh-oh, the heels are coming, I better go somewhere. But with this exercise and what we're asking to do, we're asking him to pick up his ribs, and if somebody pokes you in the belly, like the gingerbread doughboy, you give your belly, but then you drop your head. So that's what we're looking for the horse to do. We want to poke him in the belly, touch him with our heels, have him pick up his back, and that's going to help us drop his head. Immediately, that's going to get his back in under him. It's going to get him more relaxed. So we want him to understand, have the reins here, touch with both legs. He doesn't know what to do yet. The second he drops his head, I release. I release. Notice I touch with my legs first, then I touch his face, and the second he drops his head an inch, I release. Now, early on, it's supposed to look crude and rude. He's not supposed to understand. He's switching his tail because he doesn't know what that means. All his life, touching with heels means go somewhere. For the first time, that's not what it means. It's amazing what you can do with a very hot horse, how you can get them to get desensitized to the legs. The same horse that you would touch with your legs that would just jump out of its own shadow, you can touch with your legs and they slow down now because they collect up, they round up. The first day or two, it's a little confusing for them, so it's okay. Just because it's not going right, don't abandon what you're trying to teach them. So again, there we go. Touch him with my heels, ask him to drop his head. He drops his head, I release. Grab my heels, ask him to drop his head. He drops his head, I release. That's it. In the meantime, I just throw the reins to him and release, throw the reins at him. There we go. So he sped up that time, but did you see, as soon as I grabbed him, he dropped his head? There we go. So right there, you're starting to see, whenever I squeeze him with my legs, he drops his head down, which is good. That's the beginning. We don't want that he just flings it down looking for the instant release and pops it right back up, but we have to start somewhere. We have to start that he understands what I'm saying before we can add to it. There we go. Seeing that big exhale, oh man. All right, perfect. He's starting to figure that out. Very nice. Look, he's at the end of my rein. That's what we're looking for. What we don't want is for him to put his head down and then run into our hands. So you can't have too tight of a rein. And if he was to drop his head to the dirt and search the dirt, I would let him. I would completely give him the reins. I'm really trying not to touch his face here. There we go. Well, now that he's starting to figure that out, immediately as he starts passing the test, I want to go on to the next test. There we go. Perfect, okay? So he knows both heels means drop your head. Now what I'm gonna start doing is driving his back feet towards his face. And the way that I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna touch him with both back feet and I'm gonna touch, 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 and release. So right there, he couldn't pop his head directly back up. So this is the beginning of bending that back, picking those ribs up. And what you wanna make sure is I can hold those heels for longer without him getting fussy. And what I don't wanna do is I'm not holding his face. If he gives me any problems with this, I'm just gonna touch back and forth, left, right, and massage his face. It's easy to lean against that wall. It's hard to lean against that rolling door. What I'm trying to say is it's a lot harder for him to lean on you if it's moving. If you hold it steady, he'll just lay on you and go faster. What we want is for him to drive that rear end underneath him and drop that head at the same time. So to do that, I don't want to give him something steady to lay against. Same thing here, we're gonna, nice. So I'm loving that. I'm loving that he's figuring it out. You gotta figure it out at the walk before you can do it at the canter. That's it. And he's getting a little fussy about it. So I'm gonna touch him and hold it. Touch him and hold it. Drive him forward. There we go. And notice my knees aren't even touching. It's just my feet underneath him, picking those ribs up, driving those feet forward. And what you'll start seeing is you'll start seeing his back feet taking bigger strides. And if he's able to hold it for 20, 30 feet now, I'm gonna release him. Good job. Everything's real relaxed. Look at that time, he didn't speed up, he didn't throw his head. He's starting to understand. Perfect. We'll do it in both directions. He's floating on me just a hair. I'll get him right back in between my legs and in between my hands. I want him to be straight when I'm doing this. All right, perfect. So he's got it pretty good at the walk. I mean, he just absolutely gets beautiful. He really rounds up his back, really rounds up his head. You see right there? I haven't touched his face yet. I just touched him with the heels and he already rounded up. Perfect. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is ask him to do it in the trot. So I'm gonna kind of drive him into it. Well, Michael, how do you get him to go forward if when you squeeze, that doesn't mean go faster? Okay, that's a great question. So If squeezing makes him put his head down and collect up, if he's not wanting to go forward to that pressure, I'm gonna start pulsating my legs, which means I'm gonna start tapping with my legs to ask him to trot. And I may even give him a little clap. And you're seeing if he leaves his head down there, I'm just giving him all the reins that he could possibly want. So, especially for a horse that has just been head up, he doesn't have those kind of muscles to carry himself like that. So I'm doing it in short spurts to start with. Okay, completely rounded up, completely head down, going so slow. You hear him grunting like it's hard for him, because it is hard for him. It's a lot of horse, that's a lot of butt, and he has to move it. And people think that faster is harder. A lot of times, faster is easier for a horse. Going so slow and so collected and carry themselves is difficult for a horse. Like you'll go and you'll ride a Western pleasure horse, and they really have to work a long time for those horses to get, they're only able to do that for a few minutes at a time to start with, really holding themselves so collected and so under themselves. Well, it's the same thing with him.
You're bringing it back to work. That's something that we're picking it up fairly quickly. It's not running, it's settling down. Just do it like that.
Okay, so she's asking, they had a suspensory issue, right? In the rear, and he got a little injured, and he's been on stall rest, on bed rest, and he's just now getting back into the work. How long should you work? Whenever you start teaching a session, of course, like everything, you want to work until it gets a little easy, until he starts to understand the lesson, and you just don't want to overdo it. You'll be able to tell when he's starting to get real uncomfortable about working, and you want to always stop on a good note before he really gets there. So anytime he starts showing real discomfort, you're already aware and looking for that, so you're never going to go past. Right, absolutely. Anytime that you're working on, leg issues, injuries, you're never going to push that horse, to the point that he's really breaking a sweat, he's breathing hard, you're trying to nurse him back to health. So we're going to give him small sessions. You see here we're doing 4 miles per hour at the most, and we're just right. So this horse, the first time I ever trotted him, we were doing, 15 miles per hour in this arena, and he was just flying. So to see that same horse just be able to collect up and just trot right there, that little jog trot that you can't even tell if he's walking or trotting because it's right there on that borderline, that's amazing for a horse to be able to jog like that and to move his feet without turning his brain on. And that's going to be the key to your canter. If he can move his feet without getting excited about it, well, then he can canter without getting excited about it. All right, let's see without going anywhere. There we go. So you just touch with the legs, you see that head drop. We're gonna go back and do the same thing. So right here, he really doesn't know how to carry himself without that constant contact. So anytime that he gets a little crooked, I'm using my leg and my rein to straighten him up. So notice, whenever he's carrying himself nice, I let go of my legs, and then I grab him again whenever he picks his head up. And what I'm doing in this scenario, my goal is really to have his ears level with my horn. So anytime his head comes up, I squeeze again and release when he drops his head. Sit back on my pockets, drop his head again. Really loose rein. I want it to be self-carriage. I don't want to have to hold him there. So the only way you can do that, is by giving him his face, giving him the opportunity. Sitting back, shoulders back, relaxing here. There we go. Now you start seeing that trot getting bigger, but his head's staying down. So I'm not gonna pick on him right now about the speed, as long as he can keep his head down. Awesome, awesome. So I'm loving how comfortable he's getting with his back rounded. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick this up just a hair. And the reason for that, that's better. So that is so much closer to a nice canter than before. Whenever he's cantering his heads up, whenever he's trotting and his head's up and he's tight and he's pulling on the reins, that is en route for a horrible canter. So the reason that I pick my stirrups up is I don't want to be bouncing on his back. So with every single horse that comes in, I just hop on anybody and everybody else's horse. Noticed a couple times that I was really picky. On my young colt, don't want to bounce on him. I want to stay very steady, very easy. Other thing, the horse I'm trying to round his back up, I don't want to be banging on his back, knocking his back down. Absolutely. I want to use my legs a little bit, help him, get off of him, and be real steady up here for him. Not to mention, he has a real big trot. Whenever, especially rounded up. It's a nice floaty trot, good suspension. So we'll just take this in the other direction now. But that's really good effort for his first day of carrying his head below the saddle and being on that real loose rein. That's real nice. All right, so we're walking here. I'm not liking what I'm seeing in the walk. Grab with both legs. Notice in the beginning, I didn't care if he shook his head a little bit when he threw it, whenever he put his head down. But now that he knows what I want, if he shakes his head, I'm gonna keep my legs on him and I'm not gonna release until he gets down there and stays quiet. So once I get him going, as long as his ears are below my horn, I'm not gonna squeeze him with my legs. I'm gonna stay off of him, as long as he's self-carriage. But whenever his head comes above my horn, not his head, his ears. And I want you to think about this as your ceiling. And your ceiling is, what is the point that you're gonna put pressure on him? Well, the more demanding you are, the more you ask of him, the better he's gonna be about it. Because if you let him get his head all the way up and then fight with him to put his head back down, it's gonna be a constant going back and forth. Pick his head up, put it back down, put his head up, put it back down. But if he carries himself here and I don't argue with him or touch him or anything, and the only time that I grab him with my legs is when he gets higher than this, and really that's a little high, I like his ears down by my horn. There we go. Then very quickly he's gonna understand, oh, this is what he wants. All right, so we're gonna look for that trot. Complete loose reins. His ears are down there by my horn. I'm sitting back on my pockets. He picks his head up. And this is what dropping a horse's head does. It takes a hot horse that just wants to go, 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 and then they start breaking down on their own. So right here, he's trying to collapse my circle. So I grab the inside rein and bring it to his neck. And hold. Good boy. So you see he's giving us his absolute best effort. But one of the things that you'll see, you see him start sucking back and start breaking down. This is the horse that you would accidentally touch with your leg and then you'd be gone. You'd be going somewhere. Now all of a sudden we're squeezing and we're asking and we're putting our heels on him and he's rounding up and picking his ribs up and dropping his head. And every chance that he's wanting to break down. He's wanting to break down. Has nothing to do with him coming off a stall rest. If anything, all those days cooped up would make him hotter. It's the fact that he's carrying his head below his withers, so he's not tense and tight about it. He's completely relaxed, completely quiet about it. So the second that we let off of him, he's trying to break down. He's trying to get slower. He's trying to walk. That's about as much as I would like to see out of him on day one, especially coming off of an injury. But that is the route to how you're gonna get that beautiful canter. Imagine that's the first time I've seen him in motion, like actually going somewhere, completely relaxed. Yeah, so going slow, head hanging on a loose rein. You're kicking him with your legs and he's not going faster. He's collecting more. He's getting the back end further under him. He's getting his head lower. It's just a complete different way of going. And you can completely rehab a horse who doesn't know any better by doing that. So horses that are very jumpy, that you have to ride them like this with your legs off of them because they jump if you touch them with your legs. You just take 1 day or 2 days of confusion of teaching them, okay, I don't care. I'm gonna touch you with my legs. And if they try to go fast with you, you're just gonna alternate hands back and forth. So whenever I touch here, you just alternate back and forth to cut off that forward and then release. And very quickly, you'll get the hottest horse in the world. And when you touch them with your legs, they'll slow down. They'll drop their head, they'll collect up, and it slows them instead of actually going faster. The awesome thing about applying that method to trail horses and to horsemanship is now you're making a more forgiving horse. If you get the bejesus scared out of you and you clinch on with your legs, that horse is he's gonna round up his back, drop his head and slow down. And instead of peel off because you squeeze your legs. If this guy right here can slow down with you squeezing your legs, anybody can. All right? You guys have any questions? Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that is how you get a horse to drop his head with your legs. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. Make sure to get in the comments below and give us your feedback. Let us know what all problems you're having, if you're having any problems with the steps, if there's more videos or problems that you would like to see. We just want to better help you bond with your horse and help fix some of your equine problems and reach your equine goals.